Hey, Shalom. Before I continue with this lesson, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. I'm the brother lawyer, and I teach you great millstone national camp. Come back with a quick lesson. And the lesson, well, the title for this lesson will be 5 nations or 5 countries have dumped U.S. assets. And this came out a day ago. And I was listening to this video today, right? And I'm going to go straight into it. Before I play this video, of course, I'm not going to play it on my phone. I'm going to play it on the TV. So before I even play this, I'm going to say, well, not say, but get the Fair Use Act real quick. This is the Fair Use Act. It says for fair use, Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 permits limited unlicensed use of copyrighted materials without the owner's permission. So this is for, give me 1 second. All right, Slaki. So yeah, so this is, I'm not making no money from this. This is for educational purposes only. Let's go right into it. And I might jump around a little bit, with this video. All right.
Something is happening right now that should be on the front page of every newspaper in America. But it is not, because the implications are so severe that almost nobody wants to acknowledge what it actually means. 5 major countries.
And by the way, this is from, as you can see, Market History, K7P, lowercase k, 7, lowercase p. All right.
Spread across 3 continents, representing over 2 billion people and $15 trillion in combined economic output, are simultaneously selling United States Treasury bonds. Not slowly, not cautiously, aggressively. In the past 18 months, these 5 nations have collectively dumped over $400 billion in American government debt. $400 billion. That is more than the entire economy of Austria. That is twice the gross domestic product of Vietnam. And it is moving out of United States treasuries into assets that do not depend on American fiscal stability or dollar dominance. Let me be clear about what this means. United States Treasury bonds have been considered the safest investment in the world for over 70 years. Every central bank holds them.
Give me 1 second. All right, Slaki. You got a dog over here that's interrupting the damn lesson. Anyway, let's continue with this video.
Every financial institution uses them as collateral. They are the foundation of the global financial system. When major countries start dumping these bonds all at once, they are sending a message. They are saying they do not trust the United States to manage its debt anymore. They are saying the dollar is not as safe as everyone believes. They are saying the era of American financial dominance is ending. And the timing matters. This is not happening during a crisis.
Yeah, and it said, and he just said the timing matters. So the time and the when, he's going to explain it.
This is happening now in early 2026, when stock markets are near record highs, when unemployment is relatively low, when the Federal Reserve claims everything is under control. The selling is calculated, it is strategic, and it is coordinated enough that you have to ask whether these countries are talking to each other about their plans. The 5 nations are China, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, and India. Together, they represent the largest creditors to the United States government outside of America itself.
And so these 5 countries, China, no. Wait a minute, go back. I know he said India, Japan. Let me go back. Salaki.
Plans. The 5 nations are China, Japan,
yeah, China, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, and India. And so you got 2 of America's allies right there. And really India was likened to an American ally, And then you got some stuff that comes from Brazil, so these different countries, even her own allies are done with America, and it says that the nations shall hate the whore. Let me get that. And for or the nations are mad. Well, let me get both. 1 second. So This is Revelation 17 and 16. And it says, let me go down. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh. And shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So these different nations, they hate in America. You know, give me 1 second. All right. So these nations, and which really this is talking about NATO and the EU. The other one I'm talking about is in the other precept is in Jeremiah. But yeah, so even her own allies, NATO and EU, you know, they're starting to hate America. And it's another video that I have, you know, where it talks about, you know, these different nations are starting to trade, like Canada. Canada wants to start trading. What's his name? Macron, the president, or I don't know how it works with France. I think he's the president, or it might be a different name that they call him. He went over there to China, you know, for to talk with him, and it's been a decade since a president from not Macron. That's for France. The other guy for Canada. What's his name? Canada. Can you spell Canada right? Canada's. Yeah, it is a prime minister. Okay. What's his nigga name? Current prime minister, I think it is Mark Carney. Yeah. And let me see. So Mark, we're going to type in Mark Carney. Mark Carney visits China. Yeah, 12 hours ago. It says, matter of fact, I'll pull this up. Yeah, so right here, and this, of course, that's after Carney's visit. Let's see. Because one of them says 12 hours ago. Let's see. Let's go to news. And it's from marketplace.org. Let's see, marketplace. Why is it not popping up? Damn. But yeah, he went over here because, you know, they dealing with trading. Marketplace.org. Yeah, so 12 hours ago it says, are U.S. allies pivoting to China for trade deals? And that's what's going on. You know, because they're realizing that America is not reliable. They don't need America, you know. And let me see. And they're getting tired of it. Yeah, Jeremiah 51, it says Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. So yeah, Babylon had been something glorious at one point, so to speak, to be honest, hell, to everybody, you know, even before, the whole Israelite, I don't want to say thing, but before the whole Israelite thing blew up, you know, really, because this is what pushing this truth, starting with our apostles and elders, this is what helped bring down Babylon the Great. You know, the turmoil, helping the prophecies pop out. Because if we didn't wake up, you know, the Lord would have smite the earth with a curse, like how it says in Malachi. You know, so with us preaching this gospel, help chanting down Babylon. You know, the prophecy started popping off. But anyway, this place has been a place that people always wanted to flourish to. You know, oh, America, yeah, America, that country, yeah. You know, and all the nations have drunken of this wine. You know, they drunk off this wine philosophy, the American dollar, the American way of living, democracy. It says the nations have drunken of her wine, her philosophy, her ways. Therefore, the nations are mad because now they see that, our country's going bankrupt. You know, we are in debt. Hell, they're in debt to us. We're in all this debt, you know. Democracy has played us. So they're mad. And then in Revelation 17:16, it says that those nations, hold on, let me go back. Revelation 17:16, the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So ultimately, that how this beast is going to burn this woman that rides the beast is via the way of ICBM missiles. All of her allies have these missiles, and guess what? They're going to shoot these missiles upon Babylon the Great and destroy this place. Yes, America will be destroyed via these other nations, her allies and her enemies, which they're one and the same at this point. America's allies are her enemies, So anyway, I'm gonna go. Let me go back. Going back to this video that I got playing on. I got queued up on the TV.
Together, they represent the largest creditors to the United States government outside of America itself. Together, they hold nearly $3 trillion in United States debt. And together, they are exiting at a pace that has never been seen before in peacetime. Today, I'm going to show you exactly which countries are selling, how much they are dumping, why they are all moving at the same time, and what this means for your money, your savings, and your ability to maintain your standard of living. Because when the world loses faith in American debt, when the foundation of global finance starts cracking, everyone holding dollars is about to face consequences they did not see coming.
He said everyone is holding, let's go back. He said everyone is holding dollars. Let's go back at the 2 minute, let's go back to 1:56 minute mark.
To show you exactly which countries are selling, how much they are dumping, why they are all moving at the same time, and what this means for your money, your savings, and your ability to maintain your standard of living. Because when the world loses faith in American debt,
he said when the world loses a faith in American debt,
foundation of global finance starts cracking.
And when the global foundation of finance starts to crack, because America is the foundation of the world's finance, let's keep going.
Everyone holding dollars is about to face consequences they did not see coming.
He said everyone is holding dollars, American dollars, are going to face consequences that they did not see coming. And so starting with the apostles and elders on down to us younger bros, we're warning and telling you that this system is about to implode, and no one's going to profit from this except for the elite. How and why? They're going to profit from it. How? Because you're in turmoil. They got something called order out of chaos. Order out of chaos. They're going to bring the order via the chaos. And they want you to be in tune with the new system. You having that MOTB, which is the microchip, the mark of the beast, inserted into you. That's going to be a new payment. This is going to be the new way of payment. It says Revelation 13, you can't buy or sell save he that had the mark. So this is how all the problems are going to be solved if you take this MOTB. Now, since we're talking about the financial aspect of this, let me get this. As matter of fact, I should have started because we was already in Jeremiah 51. I think I was at 7. Yeah. Salakia. I'm going to read on down to verse 8. It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her. If so, she may be healed. See, this place would have been healed. The elite got enough money to fix, all the debt in the world. If all the elite put their money together, you really starting with the Edomites. That's who runs the banks in America and Israel. And that control the world's money, basically the flow of money. If they got together, all this debt would be healed. But guess what? It's of the Lord's will. So what? We would have healed Babylon, verse 9, but she is not healed. Forsake her. And that's what these other nations are doing. They're forsaking America. You know, it says, let us go everyone into his own country. And people are leaving America, you know, and these are going, you know, this is toward the heathens, you know, that's leaving, going to their own country. They didn't got what they wanted out of America. See America falling, now they out. Oh, well, our country's part of the BRICS anyway. You know, these East Indians starting to go back to their own country if they're smart. The so-called Arabs, the Ishmaelites, starting to go back to their own countries, selling off the gas stations, or going overseas and having Jake or one of the lower level, you know, Arabs run the store, or one of the lower level Elamites run the store, you know, because they know what's coming. They know this place is done. It says, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. So so America, you know, her wickedness had touched the heavens, reached unto the heavens, you know. And so, that's James 5. That's what I also wanted, James 5. And then 2, since we talking about the money, and this is spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Damn, I was gonna get the account when the money had failed in Egypt. That's what I was gonna get. So yeah, I was gonna get that. I'm not gonna get that account, but you know, we know that this is Egypt. We know the place of bondage, and the money's failing. So I'm gonna get this James 5. You know, I'm playing some more of this video. It's like 24 minutes, 45 seconds long.
Let me start with the biggest player, China. Because what China is doing is not just selling bonds, it is dismantling 70 years of economic integration with the United States.
Oh yeah, and I'm not gonna play all this video. I don't want it to be too long.
As of December 2025, China holds $759 billion in United States Treasury securities. That makes them the second largest foreign holder of American debt, just behind Japan. But here's what matters. In 2013, China held $1.3 trillion. They have reduced their holdings by $541 billion over 12 years. That is a 42% reduction. And the pace is accelerating. In the past 18 months alone, China has sold $136 billion in United States treasuries. That is more than they sold in the previous 3 years combined. They are not trimming positions. They are executing an exit strategy. Why? 3 reasons. First, geopolitical tension. The relationship between the United States and China has deteriorated dramatically since 2018. Trade wars, technology restrictions, Taiwan tensions, military posturing. Every escalation makes China more vulnerable to having their treasury holdings frozen or sanctioned. They saw what happened when the West froze Russian central bank assets after the Ukraine invasion. China does not want to give America that leverage.
So you heard, after Russia had invaded Ukraine, America froze, you know, Russian assets. And China seen it, and they didn't want that to happen either, you know. And so, that's what I wanted. We're gonna be in Jeremiah today. Let me get this, because the hammer of the earth is in full play, you know. All right, Salakia. God damn. So yeah, I'm gonna get this Jeremiah 50, because the hammer of the earth is at work, you know. And of course, we know that America, being the hammer of the earth, you know, via its military power, was also, you know, by them controlling the financial aspect of things and making countries suffer. Because when you start freezing assets, countries are not able to use that money. You know, if a country has your money that is using for its economy, and you know, if you say, well, you didn't do what I want you to do, or you're not on board, so to speak, you know, I'm gonna make it to where you can't buy or sell. So what happens? You know, the people in that country start suffering. They're not able to use the money, or inflation is going to happen. Something's going to happen to where the people of that country start suffering. So yeah, this is definitely the hammer of the whole earth. It says verse. As a matter of fact, let me get the God's word translation. God's word translation. It says the hammer of the whole earth is broken. Well, it's the same. The hammer of the whole earth is broken and shattered. See how desolate Babylon is of all the nations. You know, and this place is going to physically be desolate via when World War III starts and these other nations shoot missiles on Babylon the Great, a miracle, a mystery Babylon. It's not a mystery no more. We know who Babylon is today, or the daughter of Babylon, which is America. So play some more of this video. I thought I had the damn video pause. All right.
Second, de-dollarization strategy. China has been building an alternative financial system for years. The Belt and Road Initiative, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, currency swap agreements with dozens of countries, digital yuan development, all of it designed to reduce dependence on the dollar. Selling treasuries fits perfectly into this strategy. Why hold dollars when your long-term goal is to make the yuan the dominant currency in Asia? Third, domestic economic needs. China's economy is slowing, real estate sector collapsing, local government debt exploding, youth unemployment at record highs. They need capital at home to stabilize their economy. Selling treasuries and bringing that money back to China makes sense when domestic problems are severe. But here's the critical insight. China is not just selling treasuries randomly. They are buying gold, massive amounts of gold. In 2023, the People's Bank of China bought more gold than any other central bank in the world.
Why? Because that's what when you have, for one, look, the American dollar ain't backed by nothing. It's not backed by nothing. So China realizes that, other nations, they realize that, but starting with China, they start using gold. And that's what the BRICS nations are dealing with, is with gold. That's why the price of gold and silver is rising, because that's what's that? Not commodity, but it's an actual resource that their money is based off of. And then so let me get this. I don't want to make this too long. Let me get this James 5:1, because you Edomites, all your riches that you have, you lower level Edomites that we see on a day-to-day basis, so-called white people, which that we have a lot of Israelites that look like so-called white people, they look like the Edomites. This is James 5:1 says, Go to now, ye rich men, and weep. Matter of fact, let me see what the God's word translation. Let's see how they typed it. It says, advice to rich people. Pay attention to this. If you're rich, cry and moan about the misery that is coming to you. Your riches have decayed. Your clothes have been eaten by moth. Your gold and silver are corrupted, and their corrosion will be used as advice against you. Like fire, it will destroy your body. And it says, you have stored up riches in these last days. The wages you refuse to pay the people who harvest your fields. Shout. And today, you got these bullshit jobs. They kept back money from you. Oh, I'm going to pay you $20 an hour to do a job that's really worth $30 an hour. $25, hell, $40 an hour. And then too, the rich is kept back. We're not even using the real currencies, fiat, monopoly money, when you're supposed to be paid in gold and silver. And this is the same thing that Rome did. After a while, when Rome started going through hardships, their military was spread thin, and that's on another video. When they did that, they started mixing different metals to make to make the coins, and it wasn't worth nothing. It's the same shit. This is the revised Roman Empire, whose deadly wound was healed. Like how it says, Let me get that real quick. Give me 1 second. Revelation 13. Let's see. Great authority. In 3, it says, "Now I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death." So going back to this beast that we was reading about in Revelation 17, you got the 7 heads and 10 horns, And so one of these heads were the Roman Empire. So it says, "I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death." So the Roman Empire went down for a time. Thought it was finished. But it says, and I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, but his deadly wound was healed. His deadly wound was healed via the Renaissance, rebirth. So that's when this empire came back. But today, they're NATO, EU, America. It says, "And all the world wondered after the beast." So this beast came back. And I forgot why I'm reading this, Salaki. I forgot why I'm reading this, Salaki. So Rome came back as America. Yeah, that's why I read that, I believe. So it says verse back in the James 5 and 4. It says, "The wages you refuse to pay the people who harvest your fields shout to God against you." And the ones that shouting to God, as it says, to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, are his elect, the 1/3, because the rest of the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, they're not crying up to their power. These so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and Hispanics, and then the Israelite foreigners are not crying unto your power for the atrocities that's going on with your people, for the mistreatment of your people, for you getting paid bullshit wages, for the proper system that's not you're not crying for the system that's not being used, to pay you, meaning gold and silver. The elect is doing that. And it says, "The Lord of armies has heard the cries of those who gather the crops. You have lived in luxury and pleasure here on earth." You have lived in luxury and pleasure. Who was given that blessing? Esau, Edom, to have the fatness of the earth in Genesis. That's Esau's blessing, to have the fatness, to live in the blessed. Well, yeah, to be blessed with the sword, and to live in the best places on earth, to have the best cars, to have money, to not be in trouble as other people. You have done that, but now you're losing all that, and you're going to continue to lose. And you other nations. If this guy right here on this screen, I don't know if he's Jake, because the Lord said that he hid Judah and Moab, or he might be an Ammonite. He looks like a Moabite though. Yeah, I think he's Moab. They gonna lose. China ain't next. All that gold and shit that they printing, I'm not printing, that they making is for the nation of Israel. All nations is finna lose. So I'm gonna end it with this. Let me get the Isaiah. I believe it's Isaiah 34. I think it's Isaiah 34. Yep. It says, "Come near, and ye nations, to hear and hearken. Ye people, let the earth fear. Yeah, let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things to come of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fear upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath gathered them to the slaughter." And ultimately, this slaughter is going to be World War III in the Levant, in the valley of Yehoshaphat, for all the things that y'all done to the nation of Israel. So, Lord will, this was an edifying lesson, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.